In this specific track, though not as bold and open as she likely was in the speakeasy scenes, she makes a few subtle BD points. Let's look at this set of lyrics from the middle of the song, where Bentley sings, "What makes you men folks treat us women like you do? I give my man everything from a diamond ring or dough. The next thing I'm gonna give him 6 feet in the cold, cold ground." The first line is a general feminist comment about men treating women poorly. The second alludes to the character in the song being a self-sustaining and independent person who provides for their man, inherently combating standard domestic gender norms. The final lyric is an expression of her contempt for and lack of need for men. While not quite as out there as some of her Clam House performances, it still hits on a few notes of the BD style. Even so, Bentley was incredibly ahead of her time. Being queer, nonetheless openly queer in this era, was a show of valiance. In an act of queer world building, Bentley found a community where she could be her true and authentic self. She wore her tuxes and hats, she flaunted her women, she sang her songs, and she lived her life how she wanted to. Gladys Bentley lived her Bulldike life on her own terms. Learning about Gladys Bentley and Ma Rainey was endearing and enlightening, but it left me with a lingering question. What happened? Why isn't the world more familiar with these two incredibly influential and important artists in history? There are a few contributing factors to this. First, the repeal of Prohibition in 1933. Underground speakeasies were mightily popular prior to the repeal of Prohibition because of their seclusion and ability to access illegal alcohol, inherently drawing a crowd that was interested in raunchier content. However, when speakeasies were no longer as necessary after the repeal, they became significantly more policed. The New York State Liquor Authority established laws that discouraged queer folks from going out to bars and clubs. They marked their presence as disorderly and would often send police raids or force bars to close if they were well known for serving queer populations. Given that this made up a large population of crowds for artists like Gladys Bentley and Ma Rainey, this posed a problem for their careers. Shortly after this came the infamous McCarthy era, an era famous for its witch hunt on behalf of Joseph McCarthy and the U.S. House Committee on Un-American Activities. The committee came after Gladys Bentley on behalf of her same-sex marriage in New Jersey decades prior. Like many artists who were being watched by this committee, Bentley immensely toned down her act. She wore dresses, sang blues standards, married a man, and even wrote the famous 1952 Ebony magazine piece, "I Am a Woman Again." In the piece, Bentley writes, "Today I am a woman again through the miracle which took place not only in my mind and heart, when I found a man I could love and who could love me, but also in my body, when the magic of modern medicine made it possible for me to have treatment which helped change my life completely. I am happily married and living a normal existence. But no matter how happy I am still haunted by the sex underworld in which I once lived. I want to help others who are trapped in its dark recesses by telling my story." There is a lot of speculation as to whether she actually meant what she was writing, or if she was simply trying to avoid blacklisting and persecution in the McCarthy era. What we do know is that the peak of this Bulldyke performance was over for Bentley and Rainey, and it would be some time before queer performers could safely be as open as they were before McCarthyism.